Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today. I hope each and every single one of you are doing just fantastic. I'm personally doing well. I mean, I love it when PlayStation drops really big news the week I'm up to make a CLS video. It doesn't get better than this. So of course we're going to be talking about Ghost of Tsushima Legends in this week's video. This is the newly announced online co-op multiplayer mode that will be a free download for Ghost of Tsushima owners later this year on PlayStation 4. Normally we don't do news content here on this channel, it's more along the lines of a discussion, but I thought since this was such a shocker, because if you asked me if I was going to be expecting some type of multiplayer to come to Ghost of Tsushima, I would have said hell to the no. Personally, I was thinking something along the lines of an expansion, a new area to explore, akin to, say, the Frozen Wilds from Horizon Zero Dawn. But Sucker Punch had a different idea in mind, and I think it was smart because it really captured the internet since it was so unexpected. Today we will of course be going over the write-up over on the PlayStation blog. I'll be giving my thoughts as we go along. Let's get things started. Legends is an entirely new experience. It's a separate mode that doesn't follow up Jin or the companions from his story, which I think is significant, but instead focuses on 4 warriors who have been built up as legends in stories told by people of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima's single-player campaign focuses on an open world and exploring the natural beauty of the island, as I showed in a video earlier on CLS. It's over a half-hour long, and we just explore everything on the island. But Legends is haunting and fantastical, with locations and enemies inspired by Japanese folktales and mythology, and an emphasis on cooperative combat and action. Now, I want to paint a picture in your head of what Legends could possibly be like. It's a game I've also talked about quite extensively here on CLS, and that game is Nioh 2. Nioh 2 is dripping in exactly what Legends sounds like. So if you're reading this PlayStation blog along with me and any of this sounds interesting, do keep your eye on Nioh 2. It's in Japan, it's got a lot of mythological elements, there is an online mode that you can play with friends, go through all the missions together. Quite similar, but you're gonna see the differences here with Legends now. We designed Legends to be an exclusively cooperative gameplay experience. You'll be able to partner up with friends or via online matchmaking and play Legends in groups of 2 to 4 players. Each player can choose from one of 4 different character classes. This is where it gets different: the Samurai, Hunter, Ronin, or Assassin. Each class has unique advantages and abilities that will reveal in the future. With 2 players in Ghost of Tsushima Legends, you'll be able to play a series of co-op story missions that escalate in difficulty. So there is a story here to experience with Legends. It's not just mindless multiplayer, building on the foundation of combat from the single-player campaign, but new magical twists that often require careful synchronization with your partner. Now, I personally love the sounds of this because as much as I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima's combat, it was excellent for an open world title. I will say, as I got deeper and deeper into the game and eventually earned my platinum trophy, one thing I picked up on was that the difficulty and intensity of the combat really started to decline because Jin became more and more powerful. So it sort of fit the narrative that was happening, but at the same time, it removed what I really enjoyed about the game in the earlier parts. So I feel like if you could have this escalation of difficulty that requires you synchronizing abilities with someone else on screen, that is a good way to change up the gameplay, make it feel fresh, make it feel new, but also create great moments online with friends. With 4 players, you'll be able to take on wave-based survival missions, fighting groups of the toughest enemies Tsushima has to offer, including new Oni enemies with supernatural abilities. Now, Onis are enemies that you also do see in Nioh 2. If you can best the story and survival missions, you may be confident enough to take on the 4-player raid that will arrive shortly after the launch of Ghost of Tsushima Legends, sending you and your partners to an entirely new realm to challenge a brutal, terrifying enemy. PlayStation has had an interesting approach when it's come to post-launch content. A lot of the times it's post-launch content like, say, New Game Plus, but in the case of The Last of Us Part 2, where their multiplayer mode got so big, they put it off until after launch, and now we're seeing in Ghost of Tsushima a post-launch multiplayer mode. I doubt there's a cookie-cutter approach to all these companies. They're chasing their own visions, but I wouldn't be surprised if we started to see this more and more in the future, because you can get more people into the game, sell the game more, and of course if it's coming for free, this is a good way to, I'd say, fight back against what we were talking about in my last CLS video about Xbox's Game Pass. When you're selling these great $60 titles and then saying, hey, because you paid $60, you're getting this whole other mode here completely for free. Now, we don't know if Legends, say, becomes incredibly popular, if even future updates like more raids will become something that you have to pay for, but I have to say, I love the idea of cooperation in this universe because it's not something I ever thought of, right? The whole core of the story of Ghost of Tsushima is about the samurai, honor in combat, coming out and challenging them. And you're always on your own in these like 1 versus 8 battles. Now it's changing, and somehow they have to adjust the difficulty for that in Legends for up to 4 players. I hope that the wave-based missions are actually enjoyable. I will admit my lust for horde modes has gone down over the years since like Gears of War and Vermintide, quite frankly. This may be a hot take, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. I think Ghost of Tsushima's universe improves immediately upon the announcement of this actual mode here. The reason I say this is because of the tales in Ghost of Tsushima. Now, a majority of these are well written and enjoyable to go through. However, a large chunk of them do involve a very interesting setup, the creature of the mist taking out everyone at night, and then you learn that it's just a group of bandits. We've all gone through those tales before. There's a lot of them in this game where they set up something kind of mythical and it ends up being just a group of bandits. I do think it helps the game world in a sense because it grounds everything in reality, but on the other end of the spectrum, some of the stories that they set up sound really interesting, and we see a little bit of that with the mythical quest where you can unlock special moves and equipment. But this mode gives the game the opportunity to explore beyond that, and quite frankly, that excites me because oftentimes those tales outside of the specific character ones where they were focusing on some type of mythical element actually had the most interesting setup, I felt, thus grabbing my attention easily, and I think could have led to some really unique quests if they stayed on that mythical path. But here we are in a multiplayer mode, so maybe we can get a good fix through this. But I like where PlayStation is going with their post-launch content. I think it keeps us on our toes to not just expect something that's so obvious, because I think it would make more sense on paper to say, all right, let's tell another story with Jin after the credits have rolled and where things are going to go, maybe setting up a sequel. Or in this case, let's just do a multiplayer mode. Same thing with The Last of Us Part 2. Let's do a multiplayer mode. Let's build on what the first Last of Us did. Let's make Ghost of Tsushima not only a great open world single player game, but a cool multiplayer game. I think that's a nice surprise there, and there might be something there for a lot of us. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it in your hands. What do you think of Ghost of Tsushima Legends? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your thoughts, because while there's a surprise factor, now that things have set in a couple of days later, I wonder if people are as excited, right? Is this what people desire out of Ghost of Tsushima? Are there things that maybe Sucker Punch could have done better that can be amended in a single player expansion? And of course, if they are expanding via multiplayer, does this automatically say that they're not doing anything with the single player? That is an assumption on my behalf that you should be aware of, but we'll see in due time. For now, we have to wait patiently until we learn more about Ghost of Tsushima Legends. So once again, I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments down below. Bit of a different style CLS video today, a little more of a laid-back news discussion. Looking forward to seeing your feedback. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to close it out. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.